As traders, we want to make sure that number one, we know what our risk is per day. So we do that within our strategy. We identify what our max risk is with our initial stop. So if we go into our system here and we look at our stops and targets or our exits, you'll see that I've got our initial stop is 20 ticks or 20 points, which is $200. So that's our initial stop. But what we also want to know is exactly what our max risk is. So for the day, on the failed trend, and we go to max wins, max losses. Here it is here. Max session trades, either trades, so the number of trades or the dollars. You can see that number one selects that input. Number two, at the moment we've got max wins at 2, max losses at 3. But if we change that to, say, for example, 3 or 10, so we're happy to have as many wins as we want, max losses are 3. It's 3 times our initial risk or initial stop, isn't it? So initial stop is 20 points, so $200 on crude, $10 a point. That's our initial stop. So when you're setting or when you're looking at doing your max wins, max losses, you really should be thinking about this in relation to your trading objectives for the day, the week, or the month. Because if you're running a portfolio or just even one individual system, you will have a circuit breaker for the day that you want to kind of keep within, and that really needs to be based around your max risk. So we're going to talk about the dollar component of that soon, but at this stage this is purely talking about trades. Now the good thing about this is that you may have 3 losing trades, but they may not be full losers. Whereas if you select max dollar profit win or loss, and you can basically put in there the maximum amount you can lose for your strategy. And at the moment it's set at negative $200, so that's one trade. However, here, this 3, I know that the maximum I can lose here is $600, because 3 times 200 is $600, and the maximum I can make is $400. So I really want that to be around the other way, don't I? So let's change that to 10 and 3, and we'll see what happens here. I've already done a little bit of analysis on this and run through some numbers, and I've looked at the optimization. And one thing I've found is that you always want to make sure that if you are trying to optimize your strategy and pick out the best performance for your system, you definitely want to check to make sure that you're getting exactly what you want as far as profit. So you can see here that the largest losing trade was $200. That's got commission built in there as well. You can see that the average trade net profit is $130, 72 trades, 47%. So this is quite nice. Profit factor of 3.49. So this is tracking nicely. And now let's have a look at the trade list here. And you should see from this that losing sequence, we've had on 3 occasions, we've had 3 losing trades. On one occasion we've had 4 losing trades, and on one occasion we've had 7 losers. So when you look at 7 losers, and remember that the losers aren't necessarily all $200. These are the average loser across those 7 was $112. You're wanting to make sure that you stay within your risk mandate, so stay within the parameters of the risk that you're holding within the strategy. So let's have a look now at our system and what's actually happened with our optimization. So if we break this down into max wins, max losses, so the number of trades, remember we're not dealing with dollars as far as dollar risk or dollar loss, we're doing in relation to number of trades, and our max risk per trade $200. You can see that the most profitable option was, or not the most profitable, but the best ratio of net profit to max drawdown. So basically the highest net profit to the lowest max drawdown, and the best ratio was there at 11.4, which is basically 2 winners. So 2 winners, 1 loser. That was our best option as far as strategy input. So that meant that for the session we're trading, which is, I think that session time, I'll double check now, our session time here is listed as 840 to 2400. So it's a big session. You could get a lot of trades in that session, but as you can see, we're not taking a lot of trades. We stop trading if we have 1 loser. We keep going if we've had 2. Now that was the best outcome as far as performance in relation to ratio of net profit to max drawdown. That wasn't the most profitable outcome though. The most profitable outcome was 2 wins, 3 losses. So it's surprising, but that pushes the max drawdown up again to 13.24, and it drops the net profit to max drawdown ratio down to 9.12. So it really comes down to what you're trying to achieve as far as your objectives. Do you want a system that has a very low drawdown? If you do, then you're going to take circuit breaker on less losing trades. And if you want to capture more profit, then obviously you're going to allow yourself to be trading with the potential for more losses, but you're more often than not going to come out in relation to overall profit. The average trade net profit, which is one thing that we look at, is $93.67 on that. However, so if we have a look at the key benchmarks here, this trade here, the max 2 winners, 1 loser, that actually comes out as being the best option because we have the highest ratio of net profit to max drawdown. We've got our best interest percentage win rate, 41.2. We have the lowest drawdown, which is one thing that we're always looking for, and we have the highest average trade net profit of 124. Now, if we look at some of our other benchmarks, the number of trades are obviously critical, but here with our number of trades, max 1 win, 2 losses, we basically only get $67 average trade net profit. That's really not good enough, and our net profit to max drawdown is pretty ordinary at 6.51. So the other thing that we're looking for here is, you can see here that we do have the highest overall profit is net profit is $12,084. However, the key with this is that the average trade net profit drops down to 93. So to me, the clear winner here is basically 2 wins, maximum 2 wins, 1 loss. That is the clear winner for the optimization. That's not what the optimization comes up as the optimal settings for this strategy. It's saying that the optimal settings are 2 wins, 10 losses with a profit of 12,842. The reason why it's coming up with that figure is because I've set the optimization to provide an optimization value and give us the settings for the best overall net profit. So whatever you have set your optimization for, that's what it's going to deliver in the optimization outcome. So it's important to, number 1, have a look at your performance report, and 2, check to make sure that you've factored in the other benchmarks that you require as far as your trading objectives. So definitely don't get caught up in total profit overall, because we need to make sure that our average trade net profit is coming through and performing as is. Now guys, remember, if you're going to run an optimization on this max wins, max losses, as we would do, we want to start around about 1 and 10. They're probably your ratios that you want to begin with. So we'll change that to 1 and keep that at 10. The other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to save the results to file, so you can have a look at the results, the performance table. So max wins, loss, so that we're going to save that. So what will happen now is, once the optimization runs, it'll basically save it as an optimization table, so we can see exactly what was the optimal settings in relation to our max wins, max losses, and then we can kind of start filtering through some of the other outcomes, because as I mentioned before, I've got this set to net profit as the current best values, but we may want to modify that. You could change it to overall average trade net profit, so it's up to you. So traders, our optimization is ticking away here. You can see that it's got 4 minutes 35 seconds left. We're slowly creeping up on their net profit, but as I mentioned before, you actually may want to change this best value to a value that kind of sits more in line with what your objectives are. So it could be average trade net profit, it could be max drawdown. So you're just trying to get the most out of the optimizations that you run, and making sure that you just don't take exactly what's presented. You basically do a little bit of due diligence and dig a little bit deeper into your optimization process. Alright traders, we've got about 2 minutes left here. You can see that we're still at 2 and 5, so they're our optimal settings for net profit. So this optimization is purely based on net profit. Okay traders, the optimizations come back. It's got us with $85.77 with the overall average trade net profit. So But the thing is, we've got an optimal setting of, as we said before, for max wins, max losses, and we'll go to that on our filter. We have 10 and 2, so that was the optimal setting. If we go to the performance report, alright traders, you'll find the performance report, the actual optimization report here on your middle tab. And what we're looking for, and this is one thing I mentioned, I've got 4 months of data loaded up here. This was the most profitable, the 10 wins and the maximum 10 losses came out at a profit of 10, almost 11,000 with the max drawdown of 1374. But if we roll down here, you can see that it'll scroll down. 962 is our best max drawdown, and that coincides with a profit there of 8790. So again, when you're looking at your systems and looking at running these optimization reports, don't just get kind of blinkered on looking at just the overall max profit. You want to have a look at your max drawdown and look at those benchmark stats, because the average trade net profit, or alternatively your average win to loss, is what you want to look at as far as kind of looking at your overall benchmark stats, because that ratio of average win to loss can make a massive difference on your overall account and your portfolio. So we definitely want to kind of focus in on those numbers. Now, one thing we mentioned, the net ratio of profit to max drawdown, obviously our best number based on our stats was there at 10. Max wins was 2 and max losses 1, and a 124 average trade net profit. Max drawdown was 924, 41% win rate, and 11.43 was the net profit to max drawdown. So that was our best outcome for that. Now what I'm going to do in the next video is I'm going to run through max wins, max losses in relation to our dollar amount. So we'll see exactly how much different we get in relation to performance with our dollar amount as far as that strategy input. So thank you for joining me during this walkthrough of the max wins, max losses. Hopefully that was valuable and gave you some insight into how to get the most out of that input. Cheers.